To play this morning a recording of a call. So in each environment I get in, I'm being monitored illegally. And my life is railroaded, and when my abuser's mad, he does petty things to interrupt and ruin my day. So one of the minute things that I had from the shelter that I used to live at, they allowed me to get sabotage therapy. Each location I'm at, therapy's always sabotage. Abusers don't want a party to have a support system. That's the main tactic abusers use. They interrupt support systems and shelter. That's how they keep their victim down. And that's the government has been enlisted with my abuser to keep me going through those kind of experiences. So, nonetheless, this is what happened with a phone call conversation. This individual was supposed to be giving me, making sure I got the harassment packet back that the legal advocate was supposed to be helping me complete. They don't want me having information on the name change. So, since this is criminal, they have to scheme to how they're going to deprive me of services. Whoever's setting this up knows that treating someone like this in a conspiracy is criminal. So they have to validate, make excuses for their behavior to not get accountability for their crimes.
Services. You may call the ombudsman if you would like to report us, but Isabella can no longer be your counselor.
Oh, who told you that?
All right, thank you.
Ma'am, who told you that?
I saw it on YouTube.
How did you get my YouTube information?
Because you told us when you were a client here.
I didn't give you my YouTube information. People have been scamming for a long time, and you didn't give me the ombudsman information. I'm not quite certain on why the Gulf bin was denied me therapy too, and the court required it in the corruption. I'm not quite certain on why all these locations are only worried about, even family members, only worried about me recording and not giving me services. There's a lot of misconduct. There's a lot of misconduct that I reported to you. This happens repeatedly over and over. This is psychologically abusive, ma'am. I'm not getting anything resolved, ma'am. So since it was paid for, I'm waiting for the. I'm looking for the. Since it was paid for, the party wants to make sure it's enforced that I'm trapped in it. Denied law enforcement? I'm not quite sure what direction to go because I've just been robbed of my right to repeatedly report crimes. And I wanted to report to the police that people were being influenced to deprive me of assistance. And so they said that someone was going to call me back, and it never happened. I've been having to endure all kinds of schemes to keep me from services. And I know in the conspiracy that is a felony charge, and the FBI investigates it. But I've been robbed of my right to report it.
Do you want me to have an officer come and talk to you?
My abuser said that he's setting up a false arrest. I'm not quite certain if that's safe because I've experienced a lot of misconduct with police. Is one able to call me and we get it addressed?
Okay. What number can they reach you at?
Yes, I'm not quite sure the direction. This is Kiana Clark. I got services there. And I've communicated with the organization that a lot of locations were scheming to keep me from assistance. And I believe that there's people there with integrity issues. I have a harassment packet that someone has, and I reported a lot of misconduct from workers there, and it's been a history, a pattern for me. And no one should be robbed of their right to report abuse and flee it. But repeatedly, a lot of services that other clients got, I was not allowed those services. And I'm not sure where to escalate it because I was told by another party if someone was found to have misconduct, they wouldn't work there. So I've been robbed of my right to report repeated misconduct with domestic violence organizations and other locations. So where do I escalate it? I reported to employee there that my counseling has been sabotaged. There's people that have gotten services with rent assistance, deposits, and different things that I didn't have that option. The only thing that I was offered there was clothes, shelter, and food. And a lot of times I wasn't offered that. I didn't get the legal, I didn't get my rights. And then one of the workers witnessed the police covering for crimes. He demanded to speak with her alone. Then she wouldn't help me. After that point, I told the officer, I don't feel comfortable with you speaking with someone about my business alone. She won't call me back to get assistance. And now they've ended it with another party, and I was barely getting assistance as it is. So how do I escalate it? You guys have seen the death threats. Multiple parties have covered for it. That you've had eyewitness testimonies about something going on with my phone. I tried to show it to staff. They said they didn't see it, even though they saw it.
Okay, yes, ma'am. From what I understand is we can no longer offer you services because we offered whatever we could. Other than that, like we can't.
I don't understand why I've been robbed of the right to report misconduct. Why I've been trapped. Is the police department or someone powerful telling you to deprive me of assistance because I reported that to this organization? I'm not quite certain on every direction I turn why people are disregarding misconduct and criminal activity. Conspiracy to violate rights is a felony charge. And I'm not quite certain of why all these people, it's like it's prearranged to disregard my value and misconduct and abuse. Why can't I be treated like other people and people have to try to conceal crimes and switch up?
Okay. Yeah, that's just what I was told. We can no longer offer you services.
But I mean, am I not being heard of why I called? My call was not that I've tried to report multiple different times. I was not getting the services. So I'm not really being heard. So people were scamming to keep, I called you. This is a pattern for me. I was not getting the services. People were scamming to keep me from services. And I was told if they did that, they would not have a job there. That's what I'm trying to escalate and report. So that you can no longer offer me services. I was not getting the services that other parties got.
We can only offer you services which we can offer you. Like if you weren't eligible for those services, we can't offer you those services.
Well, the conspiracy to violate rights is a felony charge, so you can't exclude someone from services you give someone else, taking bribes or whatever reason that happens. I've already informed staff of how I'm repeatedly mistreated. And I was told that if that happened at that location, that people wouldn't have their position. I called to escalate, and I've been robbed. I think that someone powerful is railroading me and enforcing crimes on civilians. And for whatever reason, if those civilians want to commit those crimes, that makes themselves accomplices. But I called this morning to report misconduct because I was told that if they hung up. Yes, I was hung up on. I'm not quite certain on why. If you guys knew I was getting death threats, why I'm being mistreated at this point. I called to escalate to get accountability for people in their misconduct, depriving someone of assistance that they give others.
Okay. Did you just leave here, Kiana?
And Beth is covering for you guys were being controlled, and it appears that you guys are because you're being denied services.
Okay. It's not to us. It's not through the hotline. You would have to call the main office.
Okay, what's that number?
It's 361.
And the staff depriving me of assistance, but why would she hang up in my face to cover for abuse I experienced there?
I have no idea.
Well, I think, who did that so I can report her? That's abusive, and I've been treated like that for years. Who did that?
That would be the line to call.
I just want to know who hung up in my face so I can report it. That's misconduct. This is a crisis hotline, and if I'm reporting there's someone that gave me death threats and all the experiences that I had there, why would she hang up in my face? That's psychologically abusive. That devalues me to be repeatedly be treated like that.
Got disconnected, but yeah, you need to call that number because this is just a hotline.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and she was saying that they could no longer offer me services. I wasn't getting any services.
Okay.
The only thing that I got shelter, food, and clothes, and the rest of the services I wasn't allowed.
Okay.
And this lady still has my harassment packet. Okay. What about my harassment packet?
Okay, like I said, we're just a hotline.
Beth hung up in my face to cover for misconduct, and the legal advocate still has my harassment packet.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, ma'am. Call that number and let them know that.
Okay, thank you. And what was that number again? I'm sorry. I report misconduct. I am fleeing a domestic violence crisis, and I showed staff at that location, the shelter, that my abuser said that he was controlling them. And they started depriving me of assistance that they give other parties and are psychologically abusive, overtalked me. They say that they were going to give me numbers and then, in fact, cover for mistreatment and deprive me of numbers or resolutions. But I've had to endure this years. So I tried to report the repeated mistreatment to the police, and the police demanded to speak with a worker there in private at the shelter location. And then everybody switched up when they unveiled corruption and police misconduct and misconduct with government officials. Instead of them advocating for me and following protocol, they actually conspired with it.
And that's at our shelter?
Right.
Okay. All right, hang on just a second.
Okay.
Eagles Family Service.
I've been hung up on in like 10 minutes.
Oh, ma'am, I didn't hang up on you. I sent it to her voicemail because Jenny's not here. She's the one that you need to talk to, but did you leave her a voicemail?
It was disconnected. My phone is controlled, and I was trying to report that to the police, and the police department covered for it, and then the advocate. So it disconnects. I don't know what's going on with my phone.
Her name is...
My name is Kiana Clark. I stayed at the shelter, the domestic violence organization, and multiple different staff sabotaged assistance and conspired with abuse that I endure. I also showed shelter staff where my abuser said he was controlling shelters that I lived at. And a lot of I was legal with sabotage, counseling, housing, and a lot of other services. And I endured some psychological abuse and slander from that organization. And I would like to communicate and talk with someone about that to getting those that ironed out. I don't think that any person should endure an abuser enlisting domestic violence organizations to conspire with their abuse. Thank you. Yes, I was told that there was a waiting list for therapy there. I have trauma, and I'd like to know the status and the procedure for the therapy.
Okay, let me...
Yes, I'd like information. I was told that there was a waiting list for therapy, and I have some unusual circumstances going on. Someone roads my life and keeps me from services. Each location I commute to or travel to. So I'd like to know what is the status of that, because I don't know. It's suspicious that I've been robbed of the right to get counseling or therapy for trauma for years. And I just don't know if that's a normal protocol that you put someone on a waiting list, or if someone is influencing people to deny me of services.
What's your date of birth? Sounds like you were recommended for our case management waitlist. And as of now, yes, we have a waitlist in place due to capacity issues. And that is why individuals are being recommended for the waitlist. It's just due to the influx of clients and the limited staff that we have. So that's why a waitlist is in place.
Well, I've spoke with multiple different parties, and no one. It's like I'm being excluded from services because people weren't aware that there were even a possibility for a waitlist. So other people have easily gotten services, but for multiple different locations, there's fictitious wait lists that exclude me from services that other parties get, and I'm trying to get down to the bottom of it. So at each location I commute and try to be treated like a normal human being, someone sabotages each environment that I'm in to get nowhere. Moving to and commuting to location to get nowhere. And I thought treating someone like this in the United States was a felony charge, to scheme to sabotage that person's ability to get services that other parties could get. But repeatedly, over and over, these offenses are being people are not being held responsible or accountable for these offenses. So can you explain to me why I've talked to several different people and they're not aware of these new protocols to put someone on a waiting list? Because it's happened repeatedly over and over in multiple different environments.
Sure what you mean by multiple different environments.
I was communicating with you that everybody that I've talked to that has services there has never heard of anyone being placed on a waiting list to get services. They get them, but I've been experiencing this years. In fact, the police department has came to put me out of hospitals trying to get help with trauma from being violated and tortured by the government. And then enlisting those people to falsify information and records to conceal crimes that they repeatedly commit and say that I'm schizophrenic. So they're not held responsible for crimes they repeatedly commit. So my question is, if everyone else that I spoke with easily got services there and are not aware of any kind of waiting list for, and I experience this from location to location, how is it that they easily got services, but I'm placed on a waiting list?
Well, if these individuals are already active in services, depending on when they were enrolled in Gulf Fund services, there wasn't a wait list in place. So if they're already inactive in services, the wait list wouldn't apply to them. It's for individuals that are new to services and have been coming into the services. I would say for the past year now, we've had a wait list. So it really just depends on when they came into services.
Oh, I just have people committing crimes to exclude me from services that others get, and I'm just trying to establish a paper trail that that's what's going on. Okay, so someone don't want me to get therapy and they're not held accountable. They want me to be stuck in trauma and have no support system for repeated abuse. That's what abusers do. But I just don't understand when people will be held accountable for wanting to be accomplice with an abuser. Okay, thank you.
Do you have any other questions?
No, that'll be it. That'll be it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yes, I was told that Denitra Brown or someone would be contacting me back regarding misconduct and criminal activity with family court staff. So, but I didn't get the call back, and this has been a pattern that followed me. My daughter witnessed my foster arrest screaming in terror at age. She's about to be 16 now. That's 8 years of insanity and corruption and criminal activity that's been unaddressed.
Please hold 1 second.
Okay, thank you.
By any chance?
I don't understand why if she was given the message to call me, what would be the relevancy of getting her phone number? I've called her in the past. I reported child abuse to her, and she ignored me. I don't know why I would be railroaded into someone with a mindset like that would cover for child abuse.
Please hold 1 second.
Hello?
This is the clerk's office. Cindy just speaking. I can answer.
Yes, this is Kiana Clark. And remember, I reported the child abuse to you. I went to CPS and multiple different times, and the police department came to give me a criminal trespass. And then remember, you had security come when I was reporting misconduct with staff there. They're railroading me back to speak with you, but I was arrested at Arlington CPS and deprived of my constitutional right to go to court, put in maximum security, and left in jail with time served. So it's I'm being deprived of law enforcement, as I told you guys, to combat all this corruption. So I'm not quite certain because my daughter's about to be 16 and she witnessed my foster arrest screaming in terror at age 8. And then,
hold on for me, ma'am. Hold on.
So I'm not quite sure what to do because I reported the child abuse to you, and I'm arrested at CPS and slandered, and the police came to all the Dallas locations forcing me to go to Arlington. I couldn't go to court. That's a substantial amount of corruption and criminal activity by government officials. And then remember, you had security come and remove me for trying to report the criminal activity. It happened at CPS.
I'm not sure, ma'am. I'm not at the CPS location. I'm at the district clerk's office in the George Allen building.
Yeah, a lot of things that I'm saying is misconstrued, but you are the experience was similar to CPS because you had security remove me for reporting crimes, and that's been a pattern that I've had to endure an extended amount of time since being targeted. I've been silenced and violated. But this is criminal to treat a human being like this in this country, to conceal your crimes and criminal activity, no matter who you are. To call security and police and violate someone for reporting people that can't abide by the law with power, privilege, and all of that is, that's criminal. You just, can't repeatedly remove someone for reporting crimes. So I'm not quite certain. I've established a pattern of cover-up for crimes that are repeatedly committed to me. This is a family court that covered for child abuse and committed all kind of other felonies that haven't been addressed.
What's your inquiry to me today, Ms. Clark?
Well, first off, what do I do when someone lets James Hastings from Hillsborough CPS off the docket so he don't get his charge? Or the teacher that slandered me and tried to keep me from having my custodial rights as a parent? What do I do? Because making false statements to a family court is a felony. Interference with child custody is a state jail felony. Then you guys let him disappear. Then the dad went up there, was enticed to go up there and make false statements. I have him recorded, and I let you hear the recording where he said he didn't know why my rights were terminated. So the way that you guys have it set up is like your psychic from nowhere decided that my rights should be terminated when I wasn't even present. You're not following the family code. These are all kind of felonies, and all over the place, people want me to ask me what can I do? Perhaps maybe direct me to someone that abides by the law, or help me flee this country where people integrity is so scarce and hard to find. So, nonetheless, whatever con that my right has been terminated by a judge that I never met, and security's been called on me multiple times for trying to get direction on where I could meet her, because she didn't follow the family code after Kim Cooks and Beecham. Is that his name? Am I saying it correctly? Scott?
Yes, ma'am. Judge Beecham is one of our family
Okay,
members.
well, they didn't want their felony charge for breaking the law. So then Mary Murphy, a judge that I never met terminated my rights, but yet I'm on child support, and my rights are terminated by the state. All of it's a horrible mess, but yet people haven't had accountability and charges. And what people repeatedly want to do is take my freedom and cause security when I'm reporting crimes. Trapping me in just because someone has paid for this insanity don't mean that people need to be trap me in this level of corruption and criminal activity. So I'm not quite certain if I can't be put in contact with someone that has integrity, because it is mandatory reporting that you did not do when I reported child abuse to you. And isn't that a misdemeanor? But you didn't get your charge. If you're reporting to a family court that there's child abuse involved in the environment a child is in, and the family court ignores you to cover for it, that's a crime.
What matters here in the district clerk's office, or you're expecting to accomplish here, Ms. Clark? I'm still trying to get understanding. CPS is not done in the district clerk's office. We just filed documentation.
Right, but someone altered court documents to let the CPS worker James Hastings disappear. And the court is now psychic and knew that I was abusive to my child on false statements, and I don't even know what the false statements are. Some kind of neglect that no one has ever told me, because the family code was not followed and I was not present at court. But each location I'm at reporting felonies that government officials racked up, I'm disregarded and trapped in it. So I'm just trying to help people get accountability for crimes that they chose to commit. Anybody else, if it was outrageous events like this, would have been held accountable a long time ago. But people are abusing their power and privilege to rack up endless felonies with no accountability. So I'm not quite certain of what you can do. Maybe if you had held people accountable for altering court documents, which is another felony. How many felonies equal an arrest? So we got the felony of me reporting child abuse to a family court representative, and you didn't do your mandatory reporting. That's a misdemeanor. Then I'm reporting to you that there's misconduct and documentation that was altered, which is another felony. False statements made to the family court to interrupt my rights as a parent, which is a felony.
Okay, well, Ms. Clark, we'll research the matters in your allegations regarding the felony that you're reporting today.
Right, but like I said, my daughter I was arrested in front of my child at age 8. She's about to be 16. So I don't think this has been taken seriously.
Well, since you're reporting the instances now, ma'am, we'll research.
I reported it a long time ago, and multiple different times security came. I'm not being heard.
Well, I'm not sure about those.
You called the security. You're the one that had me removed. I was bullied, intimidated, and whoever that was that gave me the intimidation for reporting court misconduct from court officials. You were there. You're aware of it. Then I reported to Felicia Petrie in front of you and was ignored then too. This is going on 8 years, and how is it possible if someone paid to terminate my child custody rights in corruption? How am I paying child support and I have no rights as a parent? I don't know how much this costs, but I imagine for this level of insanity, it's not cheap. But if I had rights, wouldn't want to be a part of something sadistic like this. I think it's sickening to have Pandora's box open to realize that the government does this to their witnesses with no accountability is frightening and startling. And I wish I never would have encountered this experience to know that this is how the government deals with crimes they repeatedly commit, torturing people that have something on them. And the best way to do that and be held accountable, chop it up as mental illness, because nobody will believe what we're doing to them. Ma'am, I just hope people get the felonies they chose to rack up. You said this a long time ago that we were going to do something about it, and nothing's been done. My daughter witnessed my false arrest at age 8. She's about to be 16, and these are priceless years I can never get back. I think people should have had their charges a long time ago. This is really getting old. But I'm being denied law enforcement everywhere I turn. Every location wants to be in cahoots with this corruption, and I've just been trapped in it. If this country is this sadistic and sick, I would like to make an exit strategy to leave it, but can't. All locations are enlisted to deprive me of assistance to flee you guys' abuse, torment, and corruption. So exactly how are you going to rectify the situation? And it's been years and you haven't. And in fact, called security to remove me for reporting misconduct. How are you planning on rectifying the situation now?
Ma'am, we're going to review matters related to the concerns that you presented to our court today.
But I reported a long time ago and was removed by security multiple different times. Why would it be different today? That happened when she was 8. She's about to be 16. And I was arrested. I was arrested at CPS, Arlington CPS, and the police department came to the Dallas locations multiple times and gave me criminal trespasses. Why would I feel secure that you're going to do something now and you haven't in all this time frame? In fact, call security to have me report for reporting crimes. You'd have to prove something like this repeatedly keeps happening. No one would ever believe what I've been through. Are you taking bribes, ma'am? That's the only thing that makes sense. Are you guys taking bribes to sabotage my rights as a parent? That's a felony charge. And altering court documents to do so is another felony. Ma'am, are you taking bribes there? That's a crime for government officials to take bribes to let themselves be influenced. I've been reduced to do my own law enforcement. Are you taking bribes at the 255th District Family Court? Is that why you guys are behaving so oddly? Who will hold you guys accountable? Do you know how sadistic that is, and how mentally that would affect a child mentally to be robbed of her parent for profit? Just stripped, no communication, period. For profit. You don't care, huh? Do you think there's anyone with integrity that would care that government officials have power abuse it to this extreme? If I didn't see this, I would never believe it. I just can't. And then wanting to be around someone with self-respect and dignity that has compassion and just can't find it. Everywhere you turn, law enforcement, they want to be a criminal and not abide by the law. Just suffocated with it. This is what I've been through. Where are their charges? How many felonies do have to be racked up, felony crimes, until someone is arrested? Do you think if the FBI interrogates anyone, you think you can ignore the FBI talking and not ever get accountability? If you choose to just ignore the FBI, if someone holds you guys accountable, will that work? Will that make things go away to ignore the FBI? All I can do, ma'am, is just put it out there. And hopefully this will end one day. So you are recorded again. You know about my YouTube channel, as well as people that shouldn't. Okay, it's just a waste of time. You guys have been getting away with this a long time. Charges nowhere to be found.
Offer you services. You may call the ombudsman if you would like to.
It just started over again. They say personal information. I think it's deliberate, so I had to re-record the recording. So, but nonetheless, that's what's going on, and it's something. There's no use of venting. I'd like to get therapy. I've been robbed of it. The whole thing is if you're trying to slander someone with mental illness, you don't want them having mental clarity. It's a little bit more extreme than what you would think, though you would question why the police department would come and keep from someone from getting mental health treatment. That's their alibi. These are countless felonies. I need you to have a nervous breakdown so I don't get my charges. So the really peculiar things that I know people didn't believe that I can't talk about was deliberate. I've realized it was gaslighting. They'd have people do all these weird things, strange things, and then when I report it, it's chopped up as paranoia, but it was actually happening on camera footage. Like I know a lot of people didn't believe the blocking in the past. People have been caught. They were caught in Del Valley Jail. They won't investigate that. They were caught in a Walmart. He wouldn't get out the way, deliberately got in my path and wouldn't get out the way. I tried to escalate it, report it to the police because that's bizarre. And I didn't know that they were deliberately doing things like that so they can frame me with mental illness. All kind of other peculiar things, like strange things coming up missing. And, it sounds like paranoia or, you misplaced it. But no, this happened when I was targeted. People were really taking bizarre things. Like at PNS Shelter, we lost your perfume. It's just petty things. Glasses came up missing and it repeatedly kept happening. So they had to say, because I think staff was doing it, like at the recent location, my phone came up missing. I wanted to record the court. They had set up a new charge in this new location for dismissed charges. My phone came up missing and I couldn't record the calls. So, but they're hoping that people won't believe that they're really doing petty things like this, coming in someone's room and stealing petty things. But they've actually been caught, like they did at PNS. They tried to steal my clothes and then lied about it and then said they removed everyone's clothes from seats. No, they didn't. They got caught because the people saw the staff come in there and take my clothes. But I had just got robbed deliberately and I had no clothes. PNS wasn't following the policy and kept me from their clothing closet and schemed from that. So then a church came, an organization came, and I got some clothes. Not very many. So when I got those clothes, PNS staff came and took the clothes. There were witnesses and said that, they took your clothes, so they got caught. So I recorded the PNS Shelter misconduct. Then they banned me and tried to keep me from my mail, which is other felonies. So I enlisted the police because they had already committed crimes with the mail that were unaddressed. So what I'm trying to show you is that there's been deliberate schemes for mind games so these people don't get these racked up felonies. And the last thing they want me to do is get therapy. That's what the call was about today. I had a counseling session and they had been sabotaging it at this new location. So I'm just trying to make you guys aware of why these things are happening. It's deliberate. This is critical of the countless felonies that these people do not want to get. And that's their alibi. It's not happening until you show it. It is really happening. And I just don't know how many patterns will equal an arrest.